Hi everyone, I hope you're all well. Well, we've popped down to Wolverhampton today for a little visit down at the National Brownfield Institute, part of Wolverhampton University. It's here on the Springfield campus. Now this is former, I believe it was Mitchell and Butler's brewery, but the building's had a massive refurb regeneration as part of the university's programme, but this is what we... So I managed to sneak a quick look inside the School of Architecture, and pretty impressive. We've really come to have a look at the National Brownfield Institute. So I'm going to head inside, we'll have a look at some of the features and see what's going on down there. So here we are inside the Brownfield Research Institute, part of Wolverhampton University, and I'm booked in today to meet with Janet. She's going to be giving us some insights of what we've got here, all the different areas and facilities that are all here. It's a brand new building, so welcome inside, and we're going to head on up. You can see very state of the art, but let's make our way up and see what we can find. So the building had various spaces to use, like this open communal area was really great for various networking and breakout areas. There was also downstairs a lab area which wasn't open on the day of my visit, but a lot of high-tech equipment. Nice views over the School of Architecture just next door there. But also there was the classroom areas which we could dip into. So there you go, there's a view of the School of Architecture. Heritage listed status there. So, but all these breakout rooms, and again state of the art. Janet gave us a good tour around, and we saw how useful they'd be. Really good spaces to work in. So we're going to head into the Igloo now, which is an immersive learning zone, and this is going to, well, we're going to give you an insight into ground gas and ground gas protection. And welcome everybody. I'm Neil Selvage, and welcome to the Brownfield Institute here at Wolverhampton University, and here inside the Igloo. Well, I'm actually in my van at the moment, but I want to take you on a little site tour today to show you some example of gas membrane installation and also some of the verification processes. Now, you might be familiar with some of the Syria 735 guidance regarding the verification of gas protection, and also the British Standard 8485, which reference the design of gas protection for new builds. So I want to try and bring some of them to us in this virtual environment today. I'm just about to head out on site, so I'm going to let Neil hand over. You'll find him in a minute. He's going to be taking you into the site office and leading you through this visit. So I'll see you at the end of the presentation. Hope you enjoy the journey. So making the most of this immersive zone, part of the journey was to head up to site. So I don't want to take you all through the site formalities, induction, signing in, meeting the site manager, etc. But we thought we'd just have a quick zip through the site, fast track, have a look at some plots on the way up there. Now we're going to get onto site, and we're going to start seeing and we're going to start seeing some of the gas membrane. So we can see the site here as it actually works and the membrane's being installed. Well, first of all, we've got the structure and the subgrade, very important part of gas protection, so we can see that pushing on here. So my main focus was to try and bring to light some of the elements of working on site. So here in this immersive zone, it's been quite useful to do that activity. Another element that we look at as well is the ventilation, and we're going to talk in more detail. So again, the video, we can see some examples of perimeter work going on there, where the ground worker would have put the ventilation measures in, but we're going to look in more depth of that in a moment. And here we go. Here's some air bricks that are traditionally put in. So it's great, you can be on the site looking at air bricks. I want to show you something. So I've just wandered over to another plot with the guys. Well, this is the rock and beam going in, but it's a good opportunity to see the voids that are between the adjoining properties. Yeah, obviously the air bricks haven't gone in yet, but we can see the required subfloor void from the underside of the beam. to the formation that they've made here. So all good. So I'll let you carry on. So now we're going to join another team on site, slightly different, well, again, housing, so we've got to be mindful of different construction types, different methodologies used for different buildings. So again, block and beam being used here, quite common, certainly in England and Wales for domestic dwellings, but I know up in Scotland they might vary slightly. So we can see the team working away. Is there an awareness of the structure of the building as well? So are they going to be using traditional block and brick, or are they going to be using timber frame construction? So let's go back to the original site that we saw, and a few technicalities going on here. We can see the service ducts coming into the property. It's a known issue here with often being left afterwards. The voids are left open, so that can be a little bit problematic. We also like to look at the welding methods and how they detail membranes. So we're going to pop over, we've got a couple of technicians working away here. So we're going to go over and just have a look at in more detail of what the learners are up to. So it's also nice to see some good practice. Prepping the membrane. You can see it gets grubby. We are on a construction site after all. And the use of the heat guns. And as we near the end of this first part of the project, we can see the technician just doing some detailing here by door thresholds, and we can look around and see other corner elements completed, works pushing on nicely. We also get to meet technicians working on more, well, here we can see a subgrade that's been chosen, not ideal, but we can see it's being used. Possible consideration of the different type of membrane that's going to be suitable on here. We go back to our very first plot where we can see it's all completed. So it gives you a nice view when you're here in the igloo. Yeah. And now we move on to the inspection and verification element. So here you can see some pick probe testing, just stress point testing. Just pick up there's a fail point in that area, so just indicating to get the heat gun and the roller. And now we can move on and see some inspections going on using the air lance this time. So again, right into the scene and right in the plot. So I'm just going to move over this side as the verification officer carries on. So, and a little bit of repair work. This is something that happens all the time on site, where they find faults and elements that need repairing. We can work on those. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to come to the control console and just pause the play on that, because what I want to do is also look around some of the other elements. So this is a common slide that a lot of you might have seen, is first of all the building gas protection, and courtesy of my good friend Simon Talbot, who developed this initially. We've kind of broken up the elements there that take effect, so understanding how the site investigation, risk assessment and design is carried out, but then moving on to the elements you've been looking at here, the install. So the health and safety considerations are always of paramount importance when we're doing the work, but understanding acceptable installation methods and also demonstrating competencies. So that's where the use of the CSCS cards, which you can see up the top here, we use that commonly to prove who we are and what we can do. But also as we move on to the verification element of gas protection, to fulfil the planning requirements, so the conditions that would have been laid down by the local authority. So we can see it kind of brings us all back to the beginning again. Yeah. So we'll also look at some of the formations of problematic elements that people have to deal with as part of their working day, and they're examples that we've just put on the board. We're going to move back round again, corner detailing, etc. Just some examples there to show what good and not so good looks like, good being the lower one, whereas the top one just folding and relying on that as a completed, and that was a completed visit. And then just really a slide to look at the main elements using 8485 and Series 735 in the forms of how to inspect and the key elements of gas protection that we must look at to assure that the system is working. So I thought that would just be a good little run through to set the scene. So I hope you enjoyed that little trip down there, hopefully giving some insights into gas membrane installation as well, using the brilliant Igloo format to run that presentation there. We are going to be looking at hopefully running some brownfield breakfast down here at the National Brownfield College in the not too distant future. So yeah, thanks for joining us, everyone. Look forward to hearing from you and seeing you next time. So from the Brownfield Institute, thanks for joining us.